Have you guys seen the Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania online wars? How many of you guys have seen these? Have you seen? And we go at each other, right? What if we looked at each other and said, guess what I love about you, Kenya? You guys move with so much energy. Vigor, energy. You guys are on the move. What an amazing country. Look at Nigeria and say, hey, you guys are innovative. And culturally, you really hold on to culture. Do you know why don't we have those conversations?
Somebody asked me if a united Africa is an answer. An answer to what? Africa's problem has never been a lack of dreams. Africa's problem has always been the distance between the dream and the discipline. A united Africa. It sounds good, doesn't it? One voice, one army, one economy, strong enough to silence every empire that ever tried to break us. But unity is not a poem. It is not a trending hashtag. It is not a fantasy that politicians recite every time they run out of ideas. We tend to forget that unity is work. Unity is sacrifice. Unity requires leaders who are willing to sacrifice power for their own people. And let's be honest, Africa has never had a shortage of politicians who love power more than their own nations. Unfortunately, we cannot talk unity when half the continent still bleeds from borders drawn up in European boardrooms. We cannot scream one Africa when we cannot create one country where citizens feel safe, employed, and treated with dignity. How do you unite a continent when we fail to unite, when one nation fails to unite their own languages, their own ethnic groups, and their own parliaments? And yet I understand the desire. Every time a foreign power lands on our soil and dictates our policies, every time our minerals leave the continent raw and return expensive, every time African students are denied visas but our resources fly out freely, you feel it. The burning truth. Africa is only weak because it is divided. So is a united Africa an answer? Well, no. Not under leaders who cling to sovereignty like a shield to avoid accountability. Not in economies where corruption starves the people before hunger does. Not when we are still arguing about who belongs where on a continent that belongs to all of us. But listen closely. A strategic Africa, a coordinated Africa, an Africa that trades together, negotiates together, protects together, and speaks together, well, yes. Unity is not a switch we flip. It's a staircase that we climb. And maybe one day when Africa knows itself, heals itself, and governs itself, we will reach the top. And the world will understand that Africa was never a continent waiting to be saved. It was a continent learning.
What is it that such a small group of united Europeans can take a ruler and cut your continent to pieces? Here we are 63 years later talking about the Africa Union and Kwame Nkrumah's vision, Kambarage's vision, Kenneth Kaunda's have come and gone, Banda's have come and gone, Mugabe's have come and gone. And what makes it so sad is that during the liberation struggle, Tanzania becomes a home base for all of them. ANC, SWAPO, ZANU-PF, Frelimo. They were in the same camp. They all were agreeing as comrades, let's go back and liberate our countries. But immediately all of them go back to their countries. They've become enemies of each other. So are we only friends at war and we're enemies at peace? And if we can fail, therefore, as African governments in this deja vu of what we lost, over and above the culture that Chinua Achebe can echo, now we are talking about the loss of even the unity that became the fuel of our own independence. This is to supply the way next to Museveni, sitting next to Mnangagwa, and etc. And when they look at each other in the eye, tell me they don't know the truth. Do they don't know what I know?
All right. Welcome back, family from Africa and across the world. You know, I like to sit down here and start to share a conversation with you because there is a lot to speak. There is a lot we as Africans we have to share. We have to speak because I believe that, as it is said, that power there is power in words. There is power in tongue. There is power in speaking. And when we come out speak, When we speak positivity, as we always do, by spreading a positivity towards Africa, I believe that something must happen, something must be done, and this is what we're fighting for. We cannot just sit down and see how the future, the vision of Kwame Nkrumah dying every day. We cannot just sit down and watching the visions of Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and Muammar Gaddafi just getting just like going in vain, because they believe in this generation. They believed much in this generation that whatever you have started, there are some people who will come to achieve. There are some people who will come to finish this. And we were the expected generation. So if we don't do this, whom do you expect to do? So wherever you are, you must know that you have a task that you have to carry on. And the task is the unity or uniting Africa, spreading positivity, preaching peace, and make sure that Africa is in safe hands as we always fight against the imperialist and foreign influence. Now, I've showed you a clip. This was not an African. This lady comes from Europe. And I like her speech because sometimes, even if you listen to her speech when she's in Europe, you must like her. You must find a love everything that she's speaking. And now, it is very annoying. Just like she has said, it is very annoying to see African leader or African countries fighting each other, and then Africans are celebrating. We have the online wars. We have the Cold Wars. We have the physical wars. And this is happening because it was started by African leaders. Because today, up to this time, I always believe that there is no any leader who is today fighting for the great change of Africa. There is no African leader who is fighting for the unity and independence of African leaders when we put aside all these Sahel leaders. All these leaders that we are having today who call themselves democratic leaders are only here to chase their dreams, their interests, and their visions and their agendas, but not for what can bring a change to Africa, not what can bring an impact and positive one to Africa, not the one who is sitting down and think of what can be done so that we can save Africa. A few months ago, we have seen all that has been ongoing. We have seen the country of Nigeria is fighting against their borders, against their neighbors. Nigeria is fighting Benin. Nigeria is fighting Burkina Faso. Kenya is fighting Uganda. So this is what we've been having. And we cannot continue living like this when we are at the same time coming out to preach about peace, about unity. What are you going to unite? What are we going to unite if we are fighting each other? Let me tell you something. Today, everything that has ever happened in Africa, which is not good or in a negative way, it has never ever created by Africans. But it's something that has been fueled by other people who are not in Africa, but the foreigners, people from the West. Because I believe that through this, they always benefit. When we fight each other, they come on the back of it to pretend like they're coming to help. But in real sense, in real facts, they are the one who are causing this. They are the one who are coming out to pretend like they come to help, but they are the one who are fueling it. Because they know that through this, when we fight, they come to benefit. They'll come to say that they want to organize a dialogue, a peace talk dialogue. But through that process, they're exploiting our minerals. They're killing. They're taking away all these leaders who are fighting so hard to unite Africa. So it is our responsibility at this time to make sure that we have to think of ourselves. We have to think of the life that was taken, that was lost, for the people who lost their life fighting for this great continent, fighting for this great change, fighting for this freedom that today you are having, but you are playing with. A lot today is happening. We have great leaders in Africa who are championing all these agendas of unity. We have people like Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso. We have Julius Malema. We have Dr. Rikana. We have PLO Lumumba from Kenya, Professor. They are coming out every day, each and every day. Every time when they speak, they address the issues of unity and a freedom of African continent. Because at this time, Africa is not in a position of fighting each other. Africa is not in a position of begging or waiting for aids. Africa is not in a position of looking to one another and start to say that you are not from my country, because we are fighting for the African continent, but not for the African countries. Nkrumah was fighting for the borderless Africa because he believed that through unity there is power. He believed that through unity there is courage, and there is a lot which are like the benefit from that unity. And now we just have, as Africans, we just have to take time, a little time, and start to think of all these people. We have many people that today that the history speak about, and these people contributed much in fighting for this great continent. Today, we are enjoying all that we are having today, even if it's a little bit, but we are enjoying something which was fought so hard by other people. They never cared about their own life. They never cared about their families. They never cared about their future, but they cared about the future of the continent. They cared about the future of the people who will come, who are today. We are the one existing. Because they never knew if I'll exist. They never knew if you will exist. But they were fighting for your freedom, which today you are playing with. So these issues has to end. Because Africa this is not the Africa that Malcolm X was trying to fight for. This is not Africa that Thomas Sankara died protecting. But this is the Africa that the people from West have wanted always to look like, because they believed that we must not unite for them to benefit. They had a great plan. When they sat in a Berlin conference, they had a great plan. And their plan was only to split Africa. That's why they sat down in a room they sat in a room in a certain plane in Berlin without any African involvement, and make a decision on how to split Africa on a piece of paper. And they just come out after they have done with their things and start to separate Africa into pieces and dominate Africa. That's why all those leaders who lived those days and who are trying so hard to go against their agendas and their agreements, they were all taken away. So today we are having great wars in Africa. The Africans are fighting each other. So this is not the time, because this is not we expected. This is not the time, and this is not what we expected, but we expected great change. And that is the only thing today that we need to speak about. The only thing that we have to speak about is the great change. That's why I here always come to speak about the issues that are affecting the country of Tanzania. I always come out to speak about the issues that are affecting Uganda, that are affecting Nigeria, because I believe that Nigeria, Tanzania, Ugandan problems are my problems. They are my business. As long as it concerns Africa, it concerns me, it concerns you, and it concerns every black man across the world. We've seen many times people from Europe coming out to speak, to defend Ibrahim Traore during his execution days. We've seen many people from diaspora demonstrating against the chaos and crisis that has been ongoing in the country of Tanzania. So they are doing this because as a black person, when you see any black person, any person who looks similar like you is being humiliated, is being mistreated, is being killed, you must be concerned, because that is your brother, that is your sister. That's why we always come here to speak about the issues that affect the black Americans in America. But some of us have never even stepped in America. But because they are the black Americans, the African Americans, whom we believe that they came from Africa, whom we believe that they originated, and their bloodline is here in Africa, we must fight. And we must stand for their fights. We must be concerned about their problems, about their issues. That's why I always call you, my people, let's speak about unity. Let's speak about love. Let's fight for justice. Let's fight for the best governance, and this will bring a good change in the Africa that we need, that we expect, that the great people expected that it will look like. Maybe Blaise reaching from, just telling me what you have in the comment section. I appreciate your support for you being here. You're doing great. I appreciate you more. You are doing great. This is the Black History. Continue subscribing, sharing. Let me have your views in the comment section so that I can continue on the next episode as we move together, as we move forward, spreading positivity towards Africa. And be blessed.